リシュネク大隊長ビチューバと DJ リーゼの DJ ユキです。はい、こんばんにゃ。こんばんにゃ。So, we will be going through chapter 2 of Higurashi のなく頃に暇つぶし編にゃ。ひぐらしのなく頃に暇つぶしへの続くにゃ。第2章からにゃ。はーい。Okay, so yeah. We will get started with chapter 2. Okay. Chapter 2. I'm just making sure that the audio is on okay. Alright, so let's get started. Right. Chapter 2. Waking up in a cheapo town in the city was by no means pleasant. I remember even during the long camping trips we had during grade school, I wanted to get home quickly, counting the days left on my fingers. Waking up this morning, I was somehow reminded of that. It was a need to be with my wife when she gave birth, a particular type of homesickness. As a productive member of society, as a public servant bound to fulfill his duties, it was pathetic indeed. Those negative emotions faded as I downed my breakfast, which was surprisingly not half bad. The meaning of the informant that Oishi had provided would be tonight. Till then, I couldn't just be lazing around. The Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was protesting the dam's construction in various ways, including the strategy for improving public relations, which would be categorized into two major forms, combative and peaceful. In regards to the former, as an attempt to keep law enforcement in check, they appealed to the public's sympathy by highlighting the impressive and inhumane tactics of the police and the brutality of the Red Squad. The latter, peaceful route stressed how precious the natural surroundings of Hinamizawa was, seeking people who would oppose the dam on environmental grounds. As a part of that, the village of Hinamizawa had invited celebrated zoologists and botanists, as well as environmental groups, to advertise the nature surrounding the town. According to the news, in recent years there had been a group calling itself Hinamizawa Nature Watching, setting up free sightseeing tours. I would have liked to take advantage of the opportunity, but when I called the village administrative offices, they responded that it was too late to put in an application for the tour, and they were still undecided as to when they'd be doing another one. I see. So there's no applications for next time? Too bad. Are you a member of the environmental group? Maybe somebody from a magazine? No, just here privately. Privately? And you're a tourist? Something like that. It's my hobby to take pictures that display how beautiful nature can be. I can read a magazine that there were some priceless nature reserves here. I was looking forward to it. I knew there was an article that had something like that written in it, but I hadn't actually read it. Was it not Was it this ad-lib lie not going to work? However, contrary to my expectations, the person I was speaking to laughed happily. Wahaha, then come. The village is a little busy right now, but you're totally welcome here. Wahahaha. In that case, I gracefully accept the offer. Thank you. How are you getting around? Car? If that's the case, could I ask for your license plate number? No. There's no alternative motive behind that. Wahahaha. It's probably related to the checkpoints they had set up on the way to the village. And if I didn't give them my license plate number, I'd most likely be hindered in various ways. I thought about using the car I borrowed from the prefecture, but I was lost on whether it was okay to tell them the plate number. If the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance was behind this incident, there's no guarantee that they wouldn't be able to find out who I was. I had to play it safe, so I elected to refrain from using the car. No, actually I'm not using a car. If there's a bus or something, I prefer that. We do have a bus, actually. The route is going to be discontinued soon, though. You can take that. It departs from Okinomiya Station. Thank you very much. I'll look out for it. When will it be coming? Is this your first time in Yamazawa? If it is, you must be unsure about a lot of things. If you let me know, I can have someone show you around. Oh no, I couldn't ask that much for you. Wahaha, don't worry about it. That's just a bit of PR we do to protect nature around the village. Judging by what I saw in the checkpoint, the villagers were at least very wary of outsiders. That's why, in order to move in and out of the village freely, I could travel with somebody like Oishi, or side with the dam protest. Having an interest in the natural environment surrounding the village tied to the peaceful type of PR that the village was using. I was a bit against having a watchdog attached to me, but that might actually work for my favor. The entire village was fired out about the dam protest, so I might be lucky enough to hear some especially candid opinions from the residents. Given that there was no real reason for me to refuse the offer, is it really alright? If so, that'll really help. After that, I was shown the bus schedule and directed to which bus I could get on. Someone would come and meet me at the bus stop in the village. After showing me around around the spot I'd taken interest in, there was no doubt they'd bring me to somewhere like an anti-dam information center. Then, over a cup of tea, they'd try and indoctrinate me into accepting their principles and beliefs. Well, if that was their aim, I'd take a lot of freebies involved. There'd be a lot of freebies involved. The world is about give and take, after all. I couldn't be going in a suit. I pulled on some plain clothes out of my travel case and changed into something more casual. After that, after calming down by watching some local television, I left the hotel and set out for Okinomiya Station. The bus route that I was told would soon be discontinued certainly didn't look that way. There's more than enough trips on the schedule, and the number of passengers was no mean sparse. It was the main link to Okinomiya, the only town in the area. The types of passengers that stood out were older folk who didn't look like they could drive, and housewives who didn't seem to like they had a license. If the area was submerged at the bottom of the lake, it wouldn't matter if there was a bus route. That's why it was going to be discontinued in the unnatural scheme of things. I could catch a glimpse of the government's intent in in cutting off their means of transportation to bully the village into emptying it out sooner. Makes sense. According to the documents, talks between the Ministry of Construction and the locals broke down quite early. The government decided from the start to take an aggressive stance on the matter. It was like the fairy tale of the North Wind and the Sun, trying to get the traveler to remove his cloak. Even their bullying had meaning to it. The reason why Onigafuchi Defense Alliance resisted so violently was because the government was doing unseemly things like that. I was someone who lived in Tokyo, so for a village or two out in the boonies like this to be submerged didn't seem like a big deal. But I guess for someone actually living there, it would be a vitally huge problem. This work will be discontinued on the or thank you for patronage up to this point. Look forward to continued patrons on our other lines. Transportation. Gazing lazily at the notice of discontinued service posted inside the bus, I counted down the number of stops until the designated one. Along the way, we passed through a checkpoint before without stopping. They knew what time the bus was coming, so they'd open up the barrier ahead of time. From here on out was their enemy territory. My palms had at some point become coated in a thin film of sweat. Now arriving at Ukita Waterworks. Now arriving at Ukita Waterworks. Other passengers disembarking. I hurriedly pressed the stop request button as the designated stop was announced. For none of the numerous passengers to be getting off here meant it must be quite a remote place. In actuality, the stop I got off was so abnormally run down that I could tell it was barely used. As soon as I stepped out, an intense atmosphere completely different than the interior of the bus assailed my body. Right now, Oishi or Motodai weren't beside me. That's right. At present, I was alone in the middle of enemy territory. My adversaries probably thought I was an ordinary tourist, but that was nothing more than a ruse. But if some mistake my true identity was to be exposed, it brought me back to the terrifying words I had heard at the prefectural office. If that someone was attacked in Hinamizawa with a knife, there wouldn't be any evidence left behind. I didn't seem suspicious, did I? My clothing was currently casual. It was exactly the type of clothing that a city slicker that viewed the country stripe as a wholesome getaway would wear. A camera and a knapsack. Inside were various things needed for hiking. It was only June, and maybe it was unusual, but the sun was shining down like it was already the middle of summer. The fact that I didn't bring a hat must seem odd. No, that it wasn't something to be that concerned about. It's alright. I was just a normal tourist. Just normal. Was there anything suspicious about me? Asking that, as I turned around to look at the bus that was departing, all the passengers by the window were staring down at me, silently. They were staring right at me, as if they seen right through my proud little outfit, just staring, looking down on me. Countless stares rained down like needles on me from the windows open to air out the bus. All that rained down were stares. None of them were saying a word, but all the more, Their silencers told me more than a million things could. Hurry up and go back to Tokyo, you outsider. No, no, I there's no reason for me to speak. My quiet voice was drowned out by the sound of the engine. The bus, as if to torment me, set out slowly, and after doing more than enough to intimidate me, sped off. A thin film of sweat began to rise from my entire body. According to the documents, it was a village that seemed wary of outsiders. Its population was small as well. If they saw an unfamiliar face, they would be quick to identify that face as an outsider. On top of that, nobody else had gotten off the stop. It was a stop that they normally pass on by. Someone actually getting off here, there was no doubt that had shown some intention, but this wasn't a slip-up. They were the ones who directed me to get off at the stop. There was nothing to worry about. I knew I was just nervous, since it was my first undercover assignment. My more seasoned colleagues referred to us as the new generation that didn't know how to lose their cool, but that wasn't true at all. In order to calm down my breathing down, I exhaled the unpleasant air residing in the pit of my stomach. I couldn't help but pray that my apprehensions would disappear like the white cloud of exhaust expelled from the bus. There was a small shed there to serve as shelter if it rained, and it was there I decided to wait. Inside the shed, one wall was plastered with posters advertising the dam opposition efforts. Despite the heartfelt screams of the villagers were recorded on that wall, inside the shelter, I felt an inexplicable pressure. It wasn't like I had any real relation to the dam project, but it still made me feel hesitant about being inside there. That was just how filled of force of denial that space was. And inside that uneasy space was a girl. Inside that shed covered in words written in broad brushstrokes berating the policies regarding the dam and the calling up for action, there was a girl sleeping there with a drowsy gaze, as if half asleep. The two images clashed so much that I could only stand there dumbfounded for a moment, trapped in such a surreal environment. If I stepped inside, who knew what kind of orifice noises I could accidentally make. I couldn't be disturbing this girl's slumber like that. Having thought this, I gave up on entering the shed. It was just a sleeping kid, so why was I so worked up about it? Finally, I realized. This girl, to us, as a married couple, was a very image of our ideal girl. Even after numerous examinations at the hospital, we didn't know for sure what our child's gender was. Whether we could tell if they were a boy or a girl, if they were a boy or a girl was, at the end, dependent on whether or not we could get an image of their genitalia. There was, of course, no guarantee that it was a girl, but with things that way they were, the possibility was high. Even so, Yuki had been saying that the chances that it was a boy or a girl were even. But in my heart, I had already decided that our coming child was a girl. Since the day I decided that until now, it was so fun to imagine how a child would grow up that I couldn't help myself. Amongst those numerous imagined forms, the one that I thought to be the most ideal had materialized right in front of me. Of course, a little bit of it was due to the circumstances. In my ideal image, her hair would be on the short side. The girl in front of me, though, had long hair. It was almost as if someone had taken my ideal and made some small adjustments. It wasn't something unpleasant. Even so, I felt like I was sullying her just by looking at her like that. She had an a divine air about her. A girl with an angelic smile, with a yawn wide enough you could see her molars, woke up all of a sudden. I didn't mean to peep, but locking eyes with a girl who had just woken up like this somehow made me feel like I was playing a prank on her. I wasn't doing anything shady, but I became flustered. The girl cried out. Me? Me? Me desu ka? Like, me. Pika-chan. Like that character in the show with the Muppets? With orange hair? I thought it was just one of those greetings kids do. So, in order to prove I wasn't a suspicious person, I responded in kind. Me? 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 The girl stared at me dubiously like a doll-like expression. Cute, but cold and hard to read. Well, wouldn't be surprised. It was, after all, an unfamiliar man right in front of her when she woke up, who responded with me when she said the same thing. Suspicious. She definitely thought I was suspicious. Me. We were both at a loss for words. No. The only one lost for words was me. The girl in front of me, as if inquiring about my motives, stared at me intently. In the silence, I felt like I was the only one who had to say something first. Damn it, this girl is way better at interrogating someone than Oishi. I'm not anyone suspicious. I'm... Nipa? What I could have only described as a cold expression finally blossomed into a smile, one that soon affected me. You might be familiar with the term angelic smile to me, but it was like the phrase was created just to describe the smile she gave me. The girl was smiling, was saying, Nipa. Probably wanted me to return the favor. That's right. That was this kid's form of communication. Having the other person emulate what you just did was a rudimentary form of mutual understanding. Nipa! It was a beautiful afternoon in the early summer. What was I doing? Nipa! Well, whatever. This is interesting in its own way. If making someone happy with just a marvelous work of angels, then this girl was definitely one of them. I couldn't help but pray that my own child was soon to be born would grow up like this girl. That strangely gentle moment was finally brought to the end by the arrival of a car. An older person waved at me at the front seat. A dry smile plastered on their face. Hi there. Good afternoon. Sorry for being late. You're the tourist who phoned yesterday, right? Huh? Yeah. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm running a little behind because of the farm. Hop right in. Looks like the weather hasn't been... Looks like the weather isn't going to hold up for much longer, so I'll show you around real quick. Huh? The weather? It changes fast around here. There'll probably be evening showers again today. If it happens, you won't be able to take any pictures. Come on, get in. Me. Turning around, the girl standing right behind me was with an intriguing expression. Her body language somehow reminded me of a stray cat that followed you around after you played with it a little. So charming. Just like Yuki. Yuki's a stray cat. Mayoi neko niya. Well, if it isn't Rika-chama. Praise be. Nipa! The girl named Rika, with an immaculate smile, and an old man praising her while rubbing prayer beads in his hands. It was a rather mysterious sight to behold. Are you going to work, Makino? It's not exactly a work per se. I was asked by the mayor to show around a youngin who came to the village for some sightseeing. A youngin who came to the village for sightseeing? The girl Rika-chan said with a smile as she clung into my arm. Well, yeah. I heard this village is surrounded by precious nature reserve, so I very much wanted to record that with my camera. Even though I look like this, I really like to take pictures. Tomitake Mach 2. Huh? Tomitake? Huh? Makino, is it okay if I come along too? I couldn't. You could come along, Rika-chama. You could come along, Rika-chama, but there's nothing interesting to see. You should go play near the shrine or something. Me. Come on. A distinctly displeased expression creep across Rika-chan's face. Being able to show one's emotions honestly on their faces was a privilege a young child had. If it's not too much of a problem, could you bring this child along with us? When I said those helpful words, another smile spread across Rika-chan's face with another Nipa as she clung to me again. Not bad at all. I want to show the Papa. Oh my god. No. Father. Dad. Daddy. Oh no. What am I doing? Ever since I met this girl, I was completely off my game. Just calm down. Nothing I can do, I guess. Rika-chama never listens to any... Rika-chama never listens even if you say no. Come on, hop on in. Come on now. Rika-chama too. The old man descended to the driver's seat and opened up the sliding door on the van, which had Onigafuchi Alliance Town Council stenciled on the side. Onigafuchi. Rika-chan brushed me aside, drove into a seat, and began bouncing around right away. It seemed like she was thoroughly enjoying the bouncy springs. Come on now, Rika-chama. If you're like that to our guest, if you're like that, our guest can sit down. Hey, Rika-chama. Girls are nice. I wonder if my child will play along like this too. No. It was written that in that guide to raising a child that you shouldn't dote on them. Kids are kids. You shouldn't raise them strictly without spoiling them. It's soft and springy. Nipa! Nipa! I'm definitely going to be a terrible father. It was decided that I would be a doting parent before my child was even born. Well then, sir, I'll show you around some places that I think look nice. Have you eaten lunch yet? Yeah, I had a late meal at the hotel. Is that so? Well then, let's get going. We're setting off on a tour of Hinamizawa. Yay! Is it alright if I call you Rika-chan? Sure. My name is Fururika. I can already do addition in the tens digit. Oh, is that true? That's amazing. I'm gonna read that in Nihongo. 君はリカちゃんでいいです。いいのかな？いいのかい？そうなのですよ。フルレリカと言います。です。フルレリカと言いますです。もうフリアフリこれ上がりの足はい。I don't count on my fingers. I can do it on my head. The way she insisted upon that was just too cute. At some point, the nervousness I had about being alone in enemy territory had evaporated like it was never there at all. I had to be at least thankful that I met this girl. Well then, let's get going. It's time for Hinamizawa nature watching. The old man stepped on the gas with a great deal of gusto. Oh my god. The old man was apparently named Makino. He was the same Makino that was listed as the auditor of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. Showed me around places that were all breathtaking. Even though I wasn't really here for sightseeing, I couldn't help but be impressed. First of all, it's a little different from the simple scenery of a city. The scenery of a charming village like this, no matter how mundane it seemed to the villagers, had a tranquil appeal to it. At first, I was only releasing the shutter as part of my tour set. But midway through, I found myself taking pictures out of pure interest. Tourist traps had its own unique allure to them, but there was nothing like that here. I was especially captivated by the unspoiled nature of the place. If there wasn't a whole upward over the dam, I would want to bring Yuki with me here some other time. I wanted her to breathe in this fresh air, as well as show her the rejuvenating, verdant scenery. Is something like this that interesting? You're a strange person, Akasaka. No, these cylindrical mailboxes are rare nowadays. They have a certain nostalgic air about them. You wouldn't happen to think they're elegant, would you? Is Hinamizawa fun? Yeah, it's fun. When she's discharged from the hospital, I like to bring my wife here at least once. With the child that would be born by that time. Right now she's in the hospital waiting to give birth. She's due any day now. It'd be nice if they're a cute girl like you. Sir, it seems like congratulations are soon to be in order. So, that's not good. To leave your wife behind and play around like in a place like this. I was momentarily at a loss for words. It was exactly how Makino said. There's no good reason for a man who is waiting for his wife to give birth to be playing around idly in this place. Did I slip up? Well, we already planned this trip to Namizawa a long time ago. My wife's family is with her, so it's alright. If you had planned this trip so far in advance, then how come you didn't sign up? How come you didn't make the sign-up deadline for the nature watching? If you did, you could have toured around on a nice bus instead of being cramped up in here. It didn't seem like as if Makino was actually digging for anything, but if this conversation continued any longer, it would put some unexpected holes in my cover. I halted the conversation by pretending to take another picture. Well then, for last stop, I'll take you to the place with the best view. It was slightly before evening. The sun was still burning brightly, but a cool breeze had begun to mix itself into the air. It seemed like my exploration of Hinamizawa with Yuka-chan was about to be done. The place with the best view? Well, Rika-chan, where else could it be but the view around the shrine? Hearing that, Rika-chan smiled even more. Well then, I'll introduce you to my home, Akasaka. Huh? By Rika-chan's home, you mean... Huh? The shrine. The shrine. Furude Shrine. There's an observation platform. You can see some real pretty scenery. Furude Shrine. The girl who called Furude Shrine her home, Rika. If I remember correctly, her full name was Furude Rika. And Furude was, that's right, one of the three families. Even if the Sonozaki family said to hold all of the actual power, it was still one of the old houses that actually held some authority. No, more important than right now was Furude Shrine. If I remember correctly, Oishi had told me within the grounds of the Furude Shrine, there are the offices of the Unigafuchi Defense Alliance. And since the land around Furude Shrine were private property, the police couldn't set foot there heedlessly. Furude Shrine, where even Oishi can simply set foot into. The main base of operation for the Unigafuchi Defense Alliance. I'd been given an unexpected opportunity to enter there. I couldn't have asked for more. I'm looking forward to it. Please, if you would. Well then, let's get there quick. The weather seems to be getting a little iffy. The sky suddenly turned overcast. It wouldn't be odd if it started raining soon. The cicadas, as if trying to finish their daily allotment of chirps before the evening, cried out even more fervently. No, the song! The van stopped at the shrine's parking lot. Also parked there were numerous other vans with loudspeakers mounted on the top of them to act as makeshift propaganda vehicles. On the side of each vehicle was scrolled, "The dam project must be demolished. Defend our homeland to the last. No Oyashiro-sama's anger," or slogan of a similar kind. They gave the feeling that even without using loudspeakers, there was enough to overwhelm any onlookers. Vertical banners were erected in various places. The contents of those banners were similar. They were all objections to the dam or crude insults to the government. There were horizontal banners, placards, and so on and so forth. They proclaimed without a doubt that this was the headquarters of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance. For Rika-chan, however, this hectic place was also her home. We arrived! I'm home! Tadaima! Kikima? Tsuki mashita no desu yo. Tadaima nano desu. Rika-chan crawled over my lap and exited the vehicle first. Akira had noticed that I was looking at the protest banners. The shrine also has the offices of the anti-dam movement. For you, this probably brings back memories of the anti-security treaty conflicts back in the day. Student movements against the government policies, movements that bordered on terrorist activities, were at one time commonplace, if only in order to garner global attention. Students holding out in lectures, brawling with the riot squads that charged in. It was an age where wasting one's youth like that was considered a road to glory. It was slightly before my time. What time was that? Just curious. Yeah, 1959, 1960, 1970. Around that time, it looks like. I'm not really an activist or anything. I studied without incident and graduated without incident. I don't really agree with the violence or occupations they use to protest the government's policies. Oh, you have quite a nice opinion there. If you have an opinion on a policy, vote on the candidate who shares your view, or enter the political world yourself and assert your beliefs in a lawful manner. That's the foundation of democracy. I don't think it's something you should challenge without... I don't think that's something you should challenge with violence. For youngin, you have some fine beliefs. I saw that feeling of respect reflected in Makina's face. At that moment, something tugged my sleeve. I have no idea what Akasaka's saying. Rika-chan, feeling like she was the only one who didn't understand the conversation, had a look of displeasure on her face. That expression was charming. I had to keep myself from grinning like an idiot. It's often said that a father wants to spoil his daughter rotten. I think I understood that feeling very well. Sorry, it's a little bit hard for Rika-chan to understand, wasn't it? Japan is a peaceful country, so you have to argue on your point in a peaceful manner. You shouldn't resort to violence, in other words. No matter how much I explained, a girl who was just boasting about being able to carry digits over when adding things probably wouldn't understand. It probably wasn't something to talk about in front of Rika-chan anyway. So then, Akasaka, how do you think we should keep our village from being flooded by the dam? Even if I regretted my careless words, it was too late now. Here I was, at the main headquarters of the organization, telling them their way of doing things was illegal. Preaching that violence wasn't the answer. A complicated feeling that had mixed itself in the respect in Makina's face. It was then I finally realized it wasn't as simple. There wasn't a soul who would argue that what I was saying was incorrect. Using violence to get one's way was something that everyone knew you shouldn't be proud of. However, right now, Hinamizawa was in a predicament that couldn't be overcome with peaceful means alone. The illegality of the Hinamizawa Dam project, through the efforts of various propaganda campaigns enacted by the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance, was being called into question. If they further strengthened their campaign, they might be able to suspend or change the construction plans, but that was at most just a possibility. If the government proceeded with the construction of this plan, it wouldn't be long before this place was at the bottom of the lake. If it wasn't for the unrestrained resistance of the residents of Hinamizawa, this place might have been underwater. We can't live anywhere else other than here. We can't live in the city. The words of this remarkably young girl were too accurate. Carrying with them the screams of the hearts and minds of the residents of Hinamizawa. Of course, there's nothing I could say to respond to that. I could only respond to Makino and Rika-chan's heavy words with silence. I'm sorry. This isn't a problem that an outsider should lightly just poke in the nose, is it? I apologize. Makino, unsure how to reply for a while, could only laugh pointlessly. It's nothing that concerns guests that make their homes somewhere else. It's nothing that concerns guests that make their homes somewhere else. If you enjoy it here, please tell all your friends that Hinamizawa is a wonderful place, please. If word spreads to dozens, maybe even hundreds of people, then that ridiculous plan to submerge this place at the foot of a dam will eventually fall apart. He followed that with a smile that said, please don't think too much of it. Makino letting me not worry that much really was a stroke of good fortune. Becoming infatuated with an idea of making friends with a little girl that had made me completely forget my apprehension at being in enemy territory. Being reminded of this right before I was going to step into their headquarters might have been a good thing. If we had this exchange in the middle of their office, if there was a short-tempered youth in there, they might have come at me. Thinking of how extreme they were, in the worst case, my life would have been in danger. It seemed that I looked like a despondent at the moment. Makino, thinking he had said something wrong, became flustered, trying to think of a way to improve my mood. I was a bit careless just now. I'm very sorry. No, don't worry about it. The sights you showed me around the village were all beautiful, wonderful places. I really do want to come here one more time. If this beautiful village is going to be submerged at the bottom of the lake, I can understand why you want to fight so desperately. I had somehow managed to use my despondent look to change the topic in my favor. After a bit, Makino had returned to his usual high spirits. It seems he believed I completely sympathized with his point of view. Now, let's leave the talk at that for now. There's a place around here with a very great view. Let's go, Akasaka. Rika-chan seemingly happy to be free from all the boring and gloomy adult talk, bounded up the stone steps. There's no real need to run, but in order to catch up with her, I also darted up the steps. There were several tents belonging to the town council erected on the shrine grounds. Inside the tents were several folding tables and chairs. A number of older town council members were livening things up with chit-chat. They weren't saying anything incendiary like, the damn project must be destroyed. It was just some relaxed idle chit-chat between old local geezers. The normal sort of common scenery. At the entrance of a shed that looked like a meeting place, there was a large sign erected with Onigafuchi Defense Alliance headquarters written in bold brushstrokes. That was their base of operations. To be honest, it was a bit of a letdown. If you ask what I've been imagining, this might be embarrassing, but I had a thought it would be something much more dramatic, with barbed wire, fences, and barricades. My first impression of the place, though, was completely different from that. It looked like a simple backwater town hall. It didn't look like anything other than exactly that. The older folks were chit-chatting and noticed Rika-chan's presence. Well, it isn't Rika-chan, It's the time for the little kids to head on home. This is my home. The old folks scoffed, since she wasn't wrong. From that exchange, I could tell that this Fururerika girl was loved by everyone. Makino-san, who's that? The tourist who phoned? That's right. This is the mayor of Hinamizawa, Mayor Kimiyoshi. He smiled brightly, but there was no mistaking he would be scary if he got angry. By the looks of things, this old man was the president of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance, none other than Kimiyoshi Kiichiro himself. Hinamizawa yokozo, what do you think? It's a quiet and relaxing place, isn't it? Yeah. I was able to appreciate the multitude of beautiful places throughout the whole day. I'm thankful for being granted this rare opportunity. Even though you're one of those youngins, you're quite the gentleman. Kiichiro, I want the Akasaka Ko, please. Thinking the formalities between myself and the mayor had gone on for too long, Pika-chan butted into the conversation. For her to call the mayor by his first name, I felt it was a little strange, but none of the villagers seemed to mind. A girl of the Furure household, one of the 3 families. She's probably different than the average villager. Akasaka, over here! Pika-chan tugged at my sleeve. Not resisting, I allowed myself to pull over. I allowed myself to pull over, and waiting for me was a magnificent view. Wow. This is amazing. It was the observation deck that looked down on the village. They, knowing that it was the best view of the entire village, kept quiet as I stood there awestruck. I was holding a camera, but I'd completely forgotten to even glance at the viewfinder. This view, no matter what kind of film it was printed on, it wouldn't be able to show everything. If there was a way to explain it, it would only be what I would be able to put into words. It was such a breathtakingly spectacular view that I struggled to find a comparison. For a while, I was left awestruck. I could only stand there and wonder. A cold breeze helped abate the heat rushing through my body. That comfortable sensation also left me speechless. Pika-chan, who had been holding onto my sleeve the entire time, spoke. This is my favorite spot. As she said that, she showed me another adorable smile. That smile seemed very fleeting. How can I? Sono 笑顔がとても儚く見えた。儚い。If you ask why, that was because the view from her favorite spot would eventually be submerged under the deep green waters of the dam reservoir. I just can't believe that this village is gonna end up in the bottom of the lake. I said it so quietly so that only Rika-chan could hear it. I regret as soon as I did. for those words were all too cruel. However, Pika-chan didn't let them cast a cloud on her expression. In fact, she replied with a smile. It won't sink. The damn project will definitely go away. It was just like that. It was just like a little girl to say something like that. There was no basis for her saying so. It was just her wish. Akasaka, do you think this village will be submerged? It's not that I want it to be. I knew how important the dam was. I knew it was a necessity. I just didn't want to recognize the sacrifices that would be made. I agreed with that project in general, but I couldn't agree with some of the details. But if it meant that this girl's beloved scenery wouldn't be taken away from her, I might be able to object to the dam. I might be able to ignore the interests of the nation, the development of Japan, all for the sake of one girl's smile. I'm not really that much of a humanist, but how sentimental me. It won't be submerged. It won't be submerged, because the dam project will soon go away. Her words weren't just hopes and dreams, but were seasoned with a hint of resolve. If she was talking about an unchangeably deep, predetermined outcome, as surely as the sun rising in the east, it'll be gone soon? It'll be gone soon? I wanted to ask her why she believed that. I turned around. Yes, it'll be gone. What makes you say that? Well, you see... She seemed to want to answer, but as though unable to find the right words, she swallowed back what she was about to say. Regardless of what Akasaka does, the dam project will end this year. It's already been decided. That was a lie. If something like that had already been decided, then the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance would have no reason to continue existing. From my point of view, it was like they were doing nothing more than throwing themselves into an endless battle. If they knew the dam project was cancelled, it would feel much more relaxed around here. This village, though, could hardly be called relaxed. For that evidence of that, I just had to remember how charged the atmosphere was at the checkpoint or at the bus stop. The villagers, with their misplaced resolve, were still fighting. And this girl, even knowing the villagers' grim resolve, had already declared their victory. The villagers, throwing themselves into this endless war, and this optimistic girl who had said they had already won. Thus the contrast, that contrast was somehow strange. Why do you think that? If you know something that makes you so confident, could you tell me? Ika-chan stayed quiet for a while, seemingly choosing what to say. Because? She looked at me like she was lost on whether she should continue or not. As if she were troubled on whether it was okay for her to say that kind of expression. It's already been decided. There's no other way to say it. It's already been decided, huh? It really is just like a little girl to say something like that. I couldn't believe it was actually true. She was the only one saying such things with such confidence. My real mission that I had forgotten about during this fun-filled day resurfaced at the back of my mind. The kidnapping of the minister's grandchild. At the Onigafuchi village, Onigafuchi Defense Alliance kidnapped the minister's grandson and succeeded in negotiating the cancellation of the project dam? Did Kimiyoshi actually know that and was just plain dumb? Was that girl actually telling? What was this girl actually telling me? Akasaka. The girl called my name suddenly. What is it? Go back to Tokyo. Huh? I wasn't only surprised at the sudden command. Ever since I came to the village, I never once mentioned I wasn't from Tokyo. Well, based on my accent, she might have been able to guess where I was from. What was I getting worked up over? It was probably the sudden and complete change in her demeanor. You should definitely go back to Tokyo right away. If not, you will woefully regret it. The girl had been holding my sleeve the entire time. She had been tugging at my sleeve sincerely dragging me to show me this wonderful view. But this was the adorable Rika-chan who I spent the entire day with. There's no way she could have been placed with the doppelganger I wasn't looking. She had been holding into my sleep the entire time, but somehow this girl was someone other than Rika-chan. She looked like Rika-chan, but she wasn't. She was some girl I hadn't met before. That girl had told me in an indifferent voice that I would eventually regret coming into this village from the bottom of my heart. That would be an incredibly pathetic thing to see. I thought I warned you right now. But why would I come to regret it? Stop whining. I couldn't believe I was just hearing such cold words coming from Rika-chan's mouth. I just couldn't believe it. Was someone impersonating her? Using ventriloquism or something? Thinking that, I wanted to take a look around. The girl's gaze had me pinned down, making me unable to move. When you tried crossing the road when the don't walk sign was up, did your parents finish explaining why it's dangerous before pulling you back to the sidewalk? They pull you back right away, wouldn't they? They pull you back before explaining why it's dangerous, wouldn't they? In other words, it's something like that. The girl I spent the entire time with, Fururiko, would not speak like that. She would speak with a cuteness befitting her age, with brief childish remarks, expressing her emotions honestly. She definitely wouldn't speak with such pointed words. I warn you, don't get the wrong idea. It's not like I'm saying this because I hate you. You don't need to tell someone who's better off dead that they're in danger. Who are you? You're not Rika-chan. As soon as I accuse her of not being Rika-chan, she let out a strange quiet giggle. It was a laugh not befitting of a child of her age. It's like she was possessed by something. Her change was just that total and complete. Was Rika-chan being attracted by some terrifying phenomenon? That occult idea came to mind without any sort of hesitation. Rika-chan is asking strange. Someone, help. I was thinking that I yelled that. I turned to where the mayor was. I immediately realized he was looking at us with a smile. That's right. To him, it looked like nothing more than me and Nika-chan fooling around. He didn't notice that there was something terrifying happening to her. Akasaka's such a coward. The girl had obviously grasped that I was afraid. Noticing that and calling me a coward, she laughed again. That crackling girl, approaching me with a strange manner while still laughing, lost her balance and fell flat on her face. Nika-chan fell down. Just a while before, if it was just a while before, I would have extended a hand to help her up without hesitation. But now, extending a hand to this ominous girl who looked like Nika-chan but wasn't, required a little bit of courage that I had at the moment. Me. The girl cried out thus. She then squirmed upright and dusted herself off. Afterward, she looked around restlessly as a blank expression crept across her face. You gotta be kidding me. Was she making fun of me? That way of acting? It was as though, after being possessed by something, she had lost her memories of what happened. You're joking, right? Rika-chan? Me. I don't know if Rika-chan had heard me or not. She just cried like that, as if questioning herself. Hey, mister! Rika-chan too. Tea is ready. There's some snacks too, so please come and have some. An old lady was wearing a smock was waving energetically from the entrance of the office. Hearing that there were snacks, Rika-chan's expressions changed. Yay! A carefree smile. That was a familiar smile. The one that had belonged to the embodiment of my ideal granddaughter. My ideal daughter. Any hint of the creepy girl that was just there sprouting sinister words had vanished. Come on, Rika-chama. Wash your hands first. There aren't any manju here for dirty hands. I'll wash them real good. Me. Rika-chan responded with vigor, running off to the wash station that was along the side of the office. She stopped halfway, turning around to call to me. If Akasaka doesn't hurry up, I'll eat his share of manju too. They're steaming fresh. Huh? People who don't wash their hands aren't allowed to eat manju. No matter how you looked at it, that was Rika-chan. Those words and the way she said them, no matter how you heard them, were definitely Rika-chan. Come on now, mister. You're the adult here, so show her how it's done. The old lady urged me to wash my hands. Without any resistance, I lined up against the side Rika-chan at the wash station. Splish splash. I started Rika-chan, intent on washing her hands properly, like she had learned at school. Me? Did I do something wrong? Huh? What wrong? You mean? How I'm washing my hands. I only got four stickers for it. I'm probably bad at washing hands. You're not doing anything wrong. If you're washing them that carefully, that's more than enough. But it's not, Akasaka. If you don't use a brush and clean out the dirt beneath your fingers, you won't get a gold star. Rika-chan, you're very diligent. That's something to be proud of. Nipa! I was praised by Akasaka. No matter how you looked at it, it was Rika-chan. There was no trace of that girl from before. Exactly what was that sinister girl? Rika-chan, what was the meaning of that just now? Just now, you told me to go back to Tokyo, didn't you? Did I say that? I was a little lost for words. She didn't remember that girl now had said. Like I would ever believe someone as a quote as that could happen. Like I would ever believe that Rika-chan could be possessed by that strange girl and say those creepy things. Rika-chan, you definitely said that. Me. Her expression told me that, despite my saying so, she had no idea. She wasn't playing dumb. She actually didn't know. Exactly what was that just now? Just as Rika-chan had, I'd let a look of confusion creep across my face. The two of us, both looking like we had no idea what was going on, must have certainly been a humorous sight to behold. While partaking of tea and snacks, I was shown a propaganda film shot by the Defense Alliance that highlighted their resistance efforts. Older folks talked passionately on how long and grueling the fight against the dam was, but they fell on deaf ears. I was fixated by Rika-chan, who had heard these stories countless times before and was nodding off. Eventually, Rika-chan noticed I was staring at her and smiled as she rubbed her eyes. That smile of Rika-chan, after all, there was no hint of that sinister shadow. After that, my unreasonable fear of Rika-chan lessened with the passing of time, but I could no means forget what had happened. It eventually grew dark. The mayor said that they had prepared dinner, but I said I would come again tomorrow and took my leave. I had to return to my hotel and file my regular report with the section chief. I see. Well then, please come again tomorrow. If you phone, we'll send somebody to pick you up right away. I appreciate your hospitality. I'll probably come back again and enjoy myself tomorrow. Yes, please do. It seems like Rika-chan has taken a pretty big liking to you. Nakasaka, are you coming again tomorrow? I finished after 5th period, so if you come around 3 o'clock, that would make me happy. Please come again. That pure smile urged me to do so. There wasn't a trace of that evil aura. Depending on what happened next, all that might end up as nothing other than my illusion. After thinking about it logically, if my daughter of the Furure household was one of the three families that taken liking on me, then there's a strong foothold for my investigation from here on out. It's like a free ticket for a reason to visit Hinamizawa. If only I could treat that little incident as a figment of my imagination, then having this little girl who was the embodiment of my ideal daughter grow attached to me wasn't bad either. I had successfully dove into the belly of the Onikafuchi Defense Alliance and had the mayor as well as other members of the alliance welcome me with open arms. It was a great turn of events. However, I still felt uneasy. Getting back to the hotel, I first downed an almost painfully cold beer until I could clear my mind. The shock of that incomprehensibly strange incident continued to torment me. Yay! Nippa! crying shrine girl met with someone's adorable daughter. Oh my god. Okay, let's look at the tips. Mwah, 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 Okay. Going smoothly. The sound of the car grew closer, followed by the sound of it braking as the engine cut out. At that moment, this up until now accidental footsteps grew decisive as the man in the room dashed up to the wall beside the window and carefully peered outside. It was his comrade's car. Even so, he didn't relax his guard. Eventually, the sound of the footsteps approached the door. Here's the passcode. I'm back. Open the door already. Ah, you must be tired. I'm opening it now. The locks were undone and the door opened. A man with his arms lay in with swollen plastic grocery bags. The bags in his hands had 7 Smart written on them, with bread and milk cartons able to be glimpsed within. The contents of the bags were then spread out over a sheet on the floor. I bought some cup noodles, so go borrow some water. What's the kid doing? He's been sleeping the entire time. Thank God he's not causing any trouble. He did struggle a little bit when he was about to shit himself. Don't let him crap his pants. It'd suck if it started smelling like an outhouse in there. Yeah, I know. Check that guy every now and then. We don't want it to get out loose, so keep it tight. Not so tight that it stops breathing. I said I know. Huh? Didn't I ask you to pick up another can of gas for the portable stove? We're out. You never asked, you idiot. God, seriously, come on, work. Damn it. He rattled the portable stove as he struggled to get it to light. Seeing that, the man who went out to buy supplies let out a deep sigh. And with a backwards glance at the sight, began to walk to the corner of the room. The kidnapped boy was sprawled out on the sheet that was spread on the floor. Boy, you doing okay? Of course the man didn't assume the boy was able to hear the question. But the boy's ears were plugged. That was because the boy's ears were plugged, with his eyes and ears thoroughly covered by packing tape. Also, his mouth was gagged with a thin and twisted towel. Because of that, the boy was unable to close his mouth properly, his cheeks sticky with his own saliva. Of course, that wasn't the only reason. Both his arms were tied tightly behind his back with a leather belt. You seem to be doing okay. At least you're not gonna die. If your grandpa wanted to play tough, you might have to let out on air. But it'd be great if you don't have to do that. If the main family says we do, though, tough luck. I can't even imagine what kind of cruel things they'd have us to do. The family says not one scratch on him do, so it seems to be doing good for the time being. The minister is discreetly withdrawing the dam project. The Hinamizawa Dam is indefinitely postponed. I wonder when we're gonna let the boy go. I just want this to be done already. The main family seems to be changing the timing. I don't know what I don't know when it'll be, but probably soon. He's not a great kid. He'll be let go real soon. Man didn't know if their voices could be heard by the boy. For him, there was nothing he could do but continue to sleep to escape his harsh reality. More importantly, what are we gonna do about the gas? We can't eat cup noodles for all. If we're out of gas, say something, jizz. Oh god. Oh. I like rainy days. The weather forecast had predicted that it wouldn't rain at all this entire week. It's not that I hate sunny days or anything. When every day is the same, unchanging sunny weather, however, anybody would long for a rain cloud or two. If it's simply clear skies for a week, a month, a year, anybody would long for a rain cloud or two. The weather specialist said that they had carefully scrutinized a large quantity of past data, so it wouldn't be so likely for the forecast to be wrong. I knew as much. But even then, there was occasionally a day where I was hoping that it would be wrong. I stared up into the clear blue sky. Was I being mischievous in hoping so? I waited and waited, feeling almost suffocated by the pouring blue sky undisturbed by a single cloud. If you could die from that suffocating feeling, then the population of Earth probably wouldn't have increased to this point. In other words, the only person who was being suffocated by this was me. And so, I welcomed the summer evenings where not even the weather forecast could predict a sudden shower. If I were to explain it like this, how would you understand a little more how I feel? Let's say that tonight's dinner was going to be curry rice. But when you're called down to dinner table, what was waiting for you was instead an eggplant and bell pepper stir fry. This was just on your mother's whim, by the way. I would be delighted by such whimsy. I don't really like eggplants or bell peppers, but still, I would be delighted. The fact that the pre-established routine of curry rice had been broken would be amusing. If tonight had been repeated 100 times, 100 times you had to eat curry rice, yet for this one night, that was changed to an eggplant and bell pepper stir fry, there's no way you could enjoy that chance happening. I hate pre-established routines. I really hate when things aren't all decided beforehand. I have no love for boredom. I always get my hopes up that something today will be different from yesterday, no matter how trivial. It's been decided that this entire week, starting today, was going to be clear skies. The weather forecast decided upon it, so the god of weather must feel obligated to do so. But who's to say that a rain cloud might not disappear, might not just show up one day on a whim? It's something that nobody can say for sure. But because that thought remains in this world, a creature such as myself can continue living without being suffocated. Tomorrow will probably be a hot and clear day. However, I am the only one that knows that a predetermined fate, even with the same chance of 1%, sometimes changes. Hoping that for that 1%, I hung up upside down weather chimes on my sunlit eaves throne. In the end, I spent my days waiting for those unexpected things in life to happen. I pondered why I was hoping for it. Why was I hoping for a rain cloud? The answer was simple. I had my fill of cleared skies. Then why was I hoping for a rain cloud? The answer was simple. The fact that it was going to be sunny tomorrow was boring. So that's why I was hoping for a rain cloud. In the end, it doesn't really matter whether it rains or shines tomorrow. Basically, it's just that rain would water my heart, which was withered from boredom. That's why rather than a TV drama where the plot had already been decided, I prefer to look up at the sky. Barley tea, milk tea, and a millstone. Your blood pressure has improved. For you to recover this quickly at your age, I'm rather impressed. At this age, you'll be still be kicking after a couple hundred more years, Oreo-san. The young doctor in his medical coat said as he undid the blood pressure cuff from the arm of the old woman tucked away in her futon. You're a very good physician, Dr. Higurashi-sensei. If a persistent old fart like me doesn't hurry up and die, I'd just be in the way of you young folk. Ho 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 ho. The old lady, Oreo, laughed faintly with a broad smile on her face. Then, turning towards the sliding door, she called out in a strong voice. Is Shimiko-san or Takeo-san there? Taiko-san there? Bring some tea to Higurashi-sensei. The sound of rushed footsteps from the hallway grew closer, until finally the door slid smoothly open. What it revealed was a young woman. It was a brown girl. Looked like the old lady's granddaughter. Shimiko-san already left for today. Do you need something? Mion, make some barley tea for Higurashi-sensei. Okay, got it. Do you want some too, Granny? Or would black tea be better? Want lots of milk and sugar? I'll measure it myself, so you don't have to put any in it. Just bring the sugar jar and some milk when you bring the tea. KK. The girl named Mion, after giving a rather uninterested response to her taskmaster of a grandmother, returned to the hallway. Pour the doctor's tea in cups for the guests. And make sure you bring a coaster too. Also make sure to dry the outside of the glass, okay? Yeah, you're such a fusty pants. A tired voice replied down the hallway. The apathetic voice was far from unusual. The old lady let an early smile slip across her face as she chided the girl. Jeez, that girl just won't learn. Nothing I ever scold her about sticks. No, Oreo-san. You don't have to say it like that. Mion-chan's doing her best her own way, even though she's so young. Your mother's the same way. Couldn't even teach her anything. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So her mother must have been the exact same way, no? The old lady burst out laughing. Her expression showed she hadn't taken the comment wrong way. Higurashi-sensei, I'm sorry, but could you open the doors for me? It seems like there's a nice cool breeze outside. The cold chirping of the Higurashi had at some point started leaking through the gap of the doorway. Didier stood up and opened the door a bit. A refreshing breeze pushed out the stale air that had built up in the room. It's gotten really hot during the day, but the evenings are still rather cool, aren't they? It was downright chilly last night. Yeah, those types of mornings and evenings are another one of Hinamizawa's fine points. Irie replied with a smile as he returned to sit on the cushion beside the old lady. And then the two of them, for a little while, soaked in the voices of the Higurashi. I'm gonna try and live to 100. Until the business with the dam is proper finished, I ain't kicking the bucket just yet. To get the government to withdraw a decision they've already made is a fairly difficult thing to do. The way this country does things is like turning a millstone. A heavy one at that. A millstone? Don't you know? A millstone. Idiot quickly affirmed that, of course, he knew what the old lady was talking about. For he knew full well that Odio didn't like having her stories interrupted. This millstone, see, can grind anything to a pulp. It's rather impressive. But you see, it doesn't turn it out easy because it's a rather heavy millstone. Lots of people have to work in unison to get it to even budge. It's that type of millstone. Idiot pursed his lips, listening quietly to what she was saying. Eventually, Milan returned with some tea laid out on the tray. Seeing that Oreo was talking and in a good mood, she quietly knelt down and laid out the sets for the barley and black tea. Careful not to interrupt. That's why when it gets going, it's not easy to stop. It takes the most effort to move it right before it starts turning. Everyone hates it, so everyone keeps pushing it along without rest. You talk about friction, right? I get what you're saying. So in other words, if there's some kind of mistake and the millstone suddenly stops turning, to get it turning again, it takes a great deal of power, more or less. Certainly, to get a project that's been suspended, going to again take quite lots of work. It's a millstone that isn't easily stopped, but once it's stopped, it'll never turn again. It's that kind of millstone. It would be nice if there's some way to get the millstone stopped, wouldn't it? When Idiot responded with that, Mion and the old lady suddenly sunk into silence. Idiot, instinctively thinking he had said something rude, searched for a small panic of words to correct himself. But the silence was a result of the rude words. For what cropped across the Mion and the old lady's faces were contemptuous smiles. The atmosphere surrounding Idiot suddenly froze, leaving him flabbergasted, thinking that the scornful smiles flipping across both their faces was a result of some mistake of his. He could only grow afraid. It hadn't been that long since he was enveloped by silence. However, Unable to understand it, Edie could only let out a recall laugh. Edie's laugh eventually spread to Mion and the old lady, not knowing exactly what they were laughing at. Their laughter left a lingering chill, but the only ones not laughing were the Higurashi chorus. Okay. So that's the end of chapter 2 of Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen. Okay. Let's go to Zatsudan. Zatsudan, oh my god. Hi. So anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya. If you have not yet, be sure to follow Yuki on her socials. Yuki will post her schedule for next week tomorrow. But Yuki is thinking that next week Yuki's thinking that next week Yuki will probably focus on Higurashi for next week with one singing stream in between. That's what Yuki's thinking right now, probably. What do you call it? This chapter current game of Higurashi is not long compared to the other games, so Yuki wants to try to finish it as close to as quickly as possible. Basically, Yuki doesn't want to leave it for next year. Yuki wants to start off chapter 5. Chapter 5 or the 5th game of Higurashi next year without having to go to chapter 4 or finishing chapter 4. So Yuki wants to start off fresh. はい、明日に、スケジュールを投稿するには、多分、来週に、日暮らしの泣く頃に暇つぶしへの続いて、完了する。続いて完了したいにゃ。多分、フットワークもあるにゃ。でも、明日に雪のスケジュールをチェックしてにゃ。はい、so anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. ありがとにゃ。Like usual, this will be up. Not, it's already uploaded. It's streaming on YouTube right now. So, but the VOD for this will be up on YouTube tomorrow night. Oh yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya. Yuki won't read today, but Yuki hopes you all have a great evening. So anyways, otsu nya. Bye bye.